The unseen chains. Why your pursuit of happiness is making you miserable. Do you ever feel it? That quiet hum beneath the surface of your life. A persistent, nagging sense that something isn't quite right, even when everything should be perfect? You chase success, accumulate possessions, seek validation, and yet the void remains. A hollow echo where contentment should reside. You're not alone. This subtle despair is a universal human experience, often born from the very paths we're told will lead to joy. It's a secret struggle, isn't it? The constant pressure to be happy, to be positive, to always be striving for more. But what if this relentless pursuit is precisely what's trapping you? What if the very definition of happiness you've been sold is a gilded cage, designed to keep you running on a treadmill, forever out of breath and perpetually unsatisfied? Look closely at your own life. How many times have you achieved a goal, only to find the satisfaction fleeting? How often do you compare your internal world to the curated highlight reels of others, feeling a sharp pang of inadequacy? This isn't a flaw in you. It's a flaw in the script we've all been given, a script that promises external rewards will fill an internal emptiness. And it's a lie. This isn't about blaming society or your parents or circumstances. This is about an uncomfortable truth that lives within each of us, a truth whispered by ancient philosophers and confirmed by modern psychology. Your deepest suffering often stems from your most cherished illusions. We are taught to fear pain, to avoid discomfort, to seek pleasure above all else. But what if pain is a compass? What if discomfort is a teacher? What if the relentless pursuit of pleasure is merely a distraction from the profound work of living? This isn't a call to embrace misery, but a radical invitation to redefine what it means to truly thrive, to break free from the unseen chains that bind your spirit. The tyranny of expectation. Why we can't just be happy. Think about the last time you felt truly at peace. Was it during a moment of grand achievement, or perhaps in a quiet, unassuming instant? For many, it's the latter. Yet our modern world constantly bombards us with images of peak experiences, of perpetual joy, of lives lived in an unbroken chain of triumphs. This creates a subtle but insidious pressure, the tyranny of expectation. We expect to be happy, and when we're not, we feel like failures. This is a profound misunderstanding of the human condition. Centuries ago, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, in his private reflections known as Meditations, grappled with this very idea. He understood that life is not a continuous feast of pleasure, but a complex tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow, success and setback. He didn't seek to eliminate suffering, but to understand it, to master his reactions to it. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't a call to indifference, but to a profound inner sovereignty. It's an uncomfortable truth. Much of our unhappiness isn't caused by external events, but by our interpretation of them, and our relentless demand that reality conform to our desires. Consider the story of Sisyphus, condemned to eternally roll a boulder up a hill. A bleak image, perhaps. But what if Sisyphus, through sheer force of will and a shift in perspective, found meaning in the struggle itself? What if the act of pushing, the exertion, the defiance against the absurd, became his freedom? This is the essence of the Stoic challenge, to find agency not in controlling the outcome, but in controlling our effort, our attitude, our inner world. We are all Sisyphus in some way, pushing our own boulders. Do we curse the rock, or find strength in the push? The illusion of control. Why we cling to what we can't keep. We spend so much of our lives trying to control the uncontrollable. We worry about the future, regret the past, and try to manipulate people and circumstances to fit our ideal vision. This is a fundamental source of anxiety. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our power and some are not. Our opinions, impulses, desires, and aversions are ours to command. Our bodies, possessions, reputation, and external events are not. To confuse these two, to invest our emotional energy in what is outside our control, is a recipe for perpetual frustration. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, understood this deeply. He faced plagues, wars, betrayals, and personal losses. Yet he constantly reminded himself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He didn't wish for an easier life. He wished for the strength to meet life as it was. This is a radical perspective in a world obsessed with comfort and convenience. It suggests that our obstacles are not detours, but integral parts of our journey, opportunities for growth disguised as problems. Think about the last time you were truly angry or frustrated. Was it because something didn't go your way? Because someone didn't act as you expected? These moments reveal our attachment to outcomes, our desperate need for things to be different than they are. But what if we could cultivate an inner fortress, a sanctuary where external chaos cannot penetrate? This is not about apathy. It's about strategic engagement. It's about focusing our precious energy on what we can influence, our character, our choices, our responses, and letting go of the rest. This is where the uncomfortable truth lies. Your suffering is often a choice, not a sentence. Not a choice to feel pain, but a choice in how you respond to it. A choice to cling to illusions of control, or to embrace the profound freedom that comes from accepting what is. The social mirror. Why we fear being seen and exposed. Remember that feeling of being seen, of having your internal struggles laid bare. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? We build elaborate facades, present curated versions of ourselves to the world, all to avoid the perceived judgment of others. We fear being exposed, being found wanting. This fear of social disapproval is deeply ingrained, a relic from a time when tribal belonging was essential for survival. To be cast out was a death sentence. Even today, the threat of social isolation can feel existential. This is why, as the initial script hinted, deep thinkers often find themselves isolated. Not because they are inherently antisocial, but because their clarity, their willingness to question fundamental assumptions, acts as a cognitive mirror. When someone dares to look beyond the superficial, to articulate uncomfortable truths, it reflects back not just who we are, but what we choose not to see in ourselves. And that reflection can be deeply unsettling. It challenges our comfortable narratives, our carefully constructed identities. It forces us to confront our own blind spots, our own unexamined beliefs. Philosophers like Nietzsche spoke of the dangers of herd mentality, where individuals sacrifice their authentic selves for the comfort of conformity. The deep thinker, much like a Stoic sage, doesn't seek to impress, they seek to understand. And in that relentless pursuit of understanding, they often expose the fragility of collective illusions. This exposure, however unintentional, can feel like an attack to those who cling to those illusions. It's why Socrates was condemned, why Galileo faced persecution, and why anyone who dares to speak an inconvenient truth often finds themselves on the fringes. The uncomfortable freedom, embracing your inner citadel. So, if the world often recoils from deep thought, if the pursuit of truth can lead to isolation, what then? Do we retreat? Do we conform? The Stoics offer a different path, the path of the inner citadel. This concept, vividly explored by Marcus Aurelius, refers to an unassailable fortress within your mind, a sanctuary of reason and virtue that no external force can penetrate. It's not a place of escape, but a place of strength, where you can process the world's chaos without being consumed by it. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This isn't denial, it's a radical act of self-possession. It's recognizing that while you cannot control what happens to you, you absolutely control how you respond to it. This is the ultimate freedom, a freedom that no tyrant, no social pressure, no external circumstance can ever take away. It's the freedom to choose your perspective, to choose your values, to choose your character, regardless of the hand you're dealt. This is where the uncomfortable twist comes in. The very isolation you might feel as a deep thinker is not a curse, but a crucible. It is in this solitude, in this quiet space away from the clamor of the crowd, that your inner citadel is built. It's where you forge your own understanding, refine your own values, and cultivate the resilience to stand firm in the face of adversity. It's where you learn to be your own best company, to find peace not in external validation, but in internal integrity. The path less traveled, finding strength in solitude. So, what does this mean for you, the one who feels the weight of deep thought, the sting of isolation? It means recognizing that this path, though lonely, is not without its profound rewards. It means understanding that the very qualities that make you feel alienated are also your greatest strengths. Your capacity for introspection, your desire for truth, your willingness to question, these are not burdens, but superpowers in a world that often prefers superficiality. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently returned to the theme of self-sufficiency and the importance of one's inner life. He understood that true peace comes not from external circumstances, but from the cultivation of an inner garden, a well-ordered mind. He urged himself, and by extension us, to look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. This isn't a call to retreat from the world, but to engage with it from a place of inner strength, rather than external dependence. Consider the analogy of a lighthouse. It stands alone, buffeted by storms, yet it shines its light steadfastly, guiding ships through treacherous waters. It doesn't chase after the ships, it simply is. Its purpose is not to be understood by every passing vessel, but to fulfill its own nature. In the same way, your purpose as a deep thinker is not to conform, not to seek universal approval, but to cultivate your own inner light, to live in accordance with your highest values, and to let that light shine even if it illuminates uncomfortable truths for others. This is the unexpected twist. Your perceived weakness, your isolation, your difference, is actually the source of your greatest power. It is in the quiet moments of reflection, away from the noise of the crowd, that you gain clarity. It is in confronting uncomfortable truths that you build resilience. It is in embracing your unique perspective that you find your authentic voice. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs more lighthouses. The radical acceptance, a new definition of freedom. What if freedom isn't about having everything you want, but about wanting what you have? What if happiness isn't a destination, but a byproduct of living a life aligned with virtue and reason? This is the radical acceptance at the heart of Stoicism. It's not about passive resignation, but active, courageous engagement with reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Epictetus, another influential Stoic philosopher, famously said, "Don't seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens, then you will be happy." This is a profound shift in perspective. It moves us from a position of constant struggle against reality to one of harmonious alignment with it. It liberates us from the tyranny of expectation and the illusion of control. This doesn't mean abandoning ambition or striving for improvement. On the contrary, it means pursuing those things with a clear understanding of what is truly within your power. It means focusing on your effort, your character, your choices, and accepting the outcomes with equanimity. It means understanding that true wealth lies not in what you possess, but in the richness of your inner life, in your capacity for wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The lingering echo. What will you choose? So here you stand at a crossroads. You can continue down the well-worn path, chasing fleeting pleasures and external validation, forever bound by the unseen chains of expectation and illusion. Or you can choose the path less traveled, the path of radical acceptance of uncomfortable truth, of profound inner freedom. This choice isn't easy. It demands courage. It demands introspection. It demands a willingness to stand alone, to embrace the solitude that often accompanies genuine insight. But it also promises a liberation far more profound than any external reward. It promises a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. Marcus Aurelius, in his final thoughts, offered a simple yet powerful directive. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. He didn't say, waste no more time arguing about what a happy man should be one. Because for the Stoics, true happiness, or eudaimonia, was not a feeling to be pursued directly, but a state of flourishing that arises naturally from living a virtuous life. It is the quiet contentment that comes from knowing you are living in accordance with your deepest values, regardless of the world's applause or condemnation. What if the greatest act of rebellion in a world obsessed with noise and distraction is to cultivate silence? What if the most radical form of self-care is to confront your own illusions? What if the truest measure of your strength is not how much you can acquire, but how much you can let go? This isn't a philosophy to be merely studied. It's a way of life to be lived. It's an invitation to step into your power, to embrace your unique journey, and to find your own inner citadel. The chains are unseen, but they are real, and the key to unlocking them has always been within you.